Yeah, I'm pretty actually hyped about this. Like, this was a really good intro into the big battles that are set to come. And one, it answered one of my questions that I had over the matchups because like Chikara absolutely had like he had like the best presence in this whole chapter. Like this is one of my favorite panels that like have come out of the series as a whole. This was just really sick, as well as like thematically how this would look like animated. Like if they did this like a proper justice, like they didn't have to make this like some crazy omega animated scene, but just the way that this was presented by itself would be done really cool. So right now you have like everyone's like set up, like they're going in their matchups. Billy's got Izmo under control. Like they're just gonna be like, all right, you guys go here, you guys go here. They're gonna have everybody in groups except for Creed, who's going to be at the base of the tower and who's going to pretty much just be like the base guard, not letting anybody in. And to like for some areas, definitely like his level of weaponry, like he can just do an infinite onslaught of like missiles, grenades, rockets, bullets from his like Gatling gun and stuff. Definitely useful. If Andy was there like by himself and really just wanted to get by and pulled out Victor, or just by himself, I feel like he could get through this pretty easily. But it's just like because they're in a group, it might not have been the best thing. They do mention that like there are two different ways that you can get turned into trees by summer. One is to like come into contact with the cherry blossoms in the air, which again is really going to be really difficult to dodge, I would assume. But also staying in there for 30 minutes. So there's a 30-minute time limit on how long they are able to be within the zone, how long they're going to be able to just generally interact with anything within his territory before they end up getting turned into trees. And at this point, like, okay, we're down to our crunch numbers, and we see the first match start to kind of take up. We see everyone kind of moving in, just doing their general kind of work. So that's when Andy gets just pelted by a bunch of bullets from Creed and his whole undecrease ability. Because his power is great for, I'd assume, a good portion of the people in the series, but any of these guys who like bullets are nothing to, like if Shen was still alive, Shen really now could still do it just fine, but like deflecting bullets, anyone dealing with bullets wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, but it's like a cool panel with Creed, and he's got his undecrease, like he's got like his whole back canister open. It's like firing missiles, he's just shooting all his bullets and just launching. And he, because we know how his power works, as long as it's able to get used up, it will pretty much just be recreated. We know that about the nuke. The nuke didn't go off, so he wasn't able to create another nuke. I wonder if it's just like exactly where it was, like it'll just reform. I'd assume so if his gun is just keeps refiring, because otherwise it would be like, well, is it reform his hand? No, it would make sense to reform exactly where they pretty much left. But while they're getting pelted and kind of just taking cover, you have Chikara go out there. And I mentioned that this doesn't even need to have to be like some amazingly animated scene. If they just had like all the cool, like, gunfire, just massive array of artillery going off, and then all of them stop in midair, and you see all these bullets and explosives and stuff just frozen. And Chikara just, he walks out there looking really cool with his foot on one of the explosives. He's got like the cloak on to make himself look even cooler. He's got the goggles on. Like, he actually looks really cool. What's funny is his base design looks alright. He just kind of looks like a side character. When his hair is up, I don't know what it is. It makes him look a little odder, like a little bit more goofy. But legitimately, it works with this whole cloak and goggle look. He actually looks pretty sick. But he's in here. He's working with Top, who is coming in doing his whole stuff with his whole unstoppable. At least I'm pretty sure it's Top. Like I get him and Phil still mixed up because we don't have any real like set information in like the series over like the two characters. I'm pretty sure he is Top, and it's not it's not Phil. I don't even think Phil is like within the general kind of like area that he's gonna be at. Let me see real quick. Just because it's gonna bother me. Undead Unluck Top. I'll just look up Top and see how see if he appears. See if I can see his character. Because I know Top, obviously, like, it's funny because yeah, it's him. Because it's funny, I know their names, but we just haven't had like any real setup of we haven't had any real kind of like delving into their characters to make that kind of like them stand out enough for me that like I can distinguish them. Because right now they're really just these two names and these two characters exist, but we don't really know a whole lot about them on like an individual standpoint. But Him walking out there was really cool, and I figured that he would, like, he should just hard counter the living hell out of Creed. And like Creed does mention like he can't stop things he can't see, so when he shoots missiles at the group behind him, you have Top come in and just kind of kick them aside. And again, like, somebody like him, bullets should be nothing. I would assume that he would be like, if him versus Creed 1v1, I feel like Creed just being way bigger and way more physically strong, Creed, like, Top's attacks just aren't going to do nearly enough damage. So like he would be able to eventually just kind of catch him. Whereas like with Chikara involved, I don't really know how they can lose like a 2v1 where both their powers can kind of overtake his. Granted, we don't know what he has. He's just using regular guns right now. We don't know if he's got artifact guns, if he's got something special. It was like his power would work obviously really well with something like that, or some form of mystical, better gun, not like a plain version of general like weaponry and artillery. Because right now, this will set up like it's useful. Like, his weapons and stuff are good, but clearly against, like, these two opponents, they're not going to do anything. And, like, realistically, against somebody like Andy, if Andy was, like, really trying, it wouldn't really do anything. Like, he'd be good against certain people, like, people like Izumo and stuff, like, characters who can't deal with this, like, level of arsenal and, like, firepower, sure, as long as he's not able to get caught in whatever their power is. But right now, I just don't really see what he can do against these two, because these two should just counter the hell out of him. Like I said, though, he could pull out something we don't know about. I'm basing all of my current estimations on like what he's got displayed and not what he could have up his sleeve that just hasn't been shown yet. I'd be really hyped on that. I think it would settle like the gap pretty well if he also has just some like really cool weapon or some trump card that he can pull out, as well as logically they should have some form of weapon set up aside that they can give people like him. And somebody like him, whose power is very much centered around his weapon, it would make sense as well as why they would give it to him. So, we'll see how this will go. We got Unstoppable and Unmove against Undecrease. If he doesn't have anything special like that, they're just gonna whittle him down. Because Top's like landing hits directly to the back of his head, and it's not phasing him a whole lot, but it is causing blood. Like it is drawing blood, so clearly it does some damage. And if he's unable to move and unable to really fight back based off of the combinational attacks between these two, I don't really know what he's going to pull out. Again, that's entirely based off of what he could still have secret up his sleeve, so we'll see. Anyway, other than that, no, comment below. Solid chapter. Chikara definitely, like, this is one of my favorite panels, I think, of the whole series right now. Like, Chikara's looking like a boss. But anyway, other than that, comment below. Thumbs up the video, friend, like button, subscribe, and check out my other videos. But in that, I appreciate it when you start subscribing. Thank you all for listening. Bye.